It's almost the end of March, which means Spring Drop is out now. Its original name is Spring to Life. That pretty much described this update perfectly, as the world of Minecraft has come to life. So what was added in this drop? Today I will try to give an answer to this question. In the description, as always, you will find time codes. Choose what you are interested in. Subscribe and we're off to discover Minecraft in a new way. As always, we start with blocks, and first on our list was the bush. This is a new decorative block that grows in various biomes: plains, windstep hills, windstep gravel hills, windstep forest, river, frozen river, forest, bridge forest, and all-growth bridge forest. Be warned that it follows the mechanics of grass coloring. In each biome, the color of the bush will be slightly different. The color will depend just on the biome. This block has no collision like the sweetberry bush, for example. Passing through this bush, the player will not slow down and will not take damage. The bush can be used in the composter, because with a 30% chance it can create a new layer of compost. You can get a bush block with shears or any tools with the silk touch enchantments. Bushes do not grow after wall generation, but you can grow them manually with a bone meal. After using them, new bushes will grow on neighboring blocks. You can place a bush on a block of grass block, mycelium, podzol, common, coarse and rooted dirt, farmland, mud, muddy mangrove roots, common and pale moss block. The cactus flower is one of the most beautiful blocks in this update. It is a completely new type of flower that can grow on top of a cactus in a desert or Badlands biome. Unlike the bush, the cactus flower will grow on upper and cacti even after wall generation, but it will be able to grow on top of the cactus with a 10% chance only if the cactus is 1 or 2 blocks tall, or with a 25% chance if the cactus reaches a height of 3 blocks or higher. This works even with the manually placed cacti, but be careful, the flower will only grow if there is a space for it on each of the 4 sides. You can get the flower with any tool, including your hand. It will also, with a 30% chance, be able to create a layer of compost in the composter. The cactus flower is still a flower, so you can attract and breed bees with it, but most importantly, you can get a pink dye from it. The funny thing is that the cactus flower can be placed on any cactus, farmland or any other blocks whose top side matches the face of a full block, but you can't plant it in the flower pot. On October 16th, 2021, at Minecraft Live, the developers showed off something unusual: fireflies. It was supposed to be a passive mob the size of 2 pixels. Originally, frogs were supposed to eat exactly these fireflies to produce frog light, but it turned out that frogs don't eat them, and in general some types of fireflies can be poisonous. That's why they were abandoned. But in fact, they were not wanted to be added to the game because of the quote performance nightmare. Many players did not like this change, but the developers said that fireflies will return to Minecraft. They were in line. In this update, fireflies are back, but in the slightly different form. Now it is not a mob but a block, a firefly bush. You can find this block near rivers as well as on ordinary and mangrove swamps. In extremely rare cases, they can be generated in Badlands near a body of water. At the same time, they are not only found near water in swamps. Firefly bush can be obtained by hand or any tool. Silk touch will not be needed, although it is a very strange solution. The main feature of these bushes is that as soon as the light level is 13 units or lower, they start emitting beautiful flickering particles in the form of fireflies. These particles, though they grow in the dark, unfortunately do not affect the overall light level, although the bush itself emits a second level of light. If you destroy the bush, the fireflies will disappear with the bush. Fireflies do not appear during the day, but if you bury the bush under the ground to create a dark effect, they will appear even during the day. In Bedrock edition of Minecraft, firefly bush can be covered with snow, and in this position fireflies will not appear even at night. But that's not all. The main feature of fireflies is the ambient sound. Only at night a firefly bush will randomly produce atmospheric sounds if there is no solid block above it, except for leaves. Listen for yourself. Just like a normal bush, this one does not grow anymore after generating the world, so to get it in the large quantities you will need bone meal. After using it, new bushes will grow on neighboring blocks. Leaf litter is a new decorative block that resembles a layer of fallen leaves. You can find this block under trees in this biome: forest, dark forest and wooded badlands. Leaf litter can be mined by hand or any tool without a silk touch. A block of leaf litter consists of 4 parts. If a full block is mined, the player will get 4 units at once. When placing leaf litter, the player uses only 1 unit, meaning that 4 units can be placed per block at once. Leaf litter also does not appear after wall generation, but then how do you get it? It's simple. To do this, the player must get any block of leaves and smelt it in the furnace. From 1 block of leaves, we will get 1 block of leaf litter. Of course, it can also be used as a fuel. To smelt 1 item, you will need 2 units of leaf litter. In addition, the color of leaf litter depends on the biome in which it will be located. In most biomes, they are different shades of brown, but in the pale garden, they will be gray. Now let me show you 2 blocks at once: short and a tall dry grass. The player will be able to find these two blocks in the desert biome and in all types of badlands. Dry grass cannot be mined by hand or tools, it will always be destroyed, and if you're lucky, a wheat seed will drop out of it. To obtain dry grass, you will need to use shears only. Silk touch is not necessary. Alternatively, tall dry grass can be bought from the wandering trader. From time to time, the sheep will eat the dry grass in order to grow new wool, and the block will disappear. Baby sheep eat dry grass 20 times more often than adult, which speeds up their growth by 1 minute. Of course, dry grass can be used in a furnace as a fuel. It will take 2 units of dry grass to melt. Short dry grass will grow into tall dry grass if it has been fertilized with bone meal, and if you continue to use bone meal on tall dry grass, several more blocks of tall dry grass will grow on neighboring blocks. We should not forget about wildflowers. These are small decorative flowers that grow in the meadows and birch biomes. By their mechanics, they are very similar to pink petals. They can also be placed within one block up to 4 units. These flowers are destroyed instantly by hand or any other tool. No silk touch will be needed. As I said, flowers are generated in 2 biomes, with the amount of them per block varying. Using bone meal on the wildflowers will cause new flowers to appear as an item. That is, they will not spread to neighboring blocks. But still, in biomes where wildflowers grow, when using bone meal on grass blocks will appear new wildflowers. Of course, if it is a flower, then we can get a dye. In our case, it is yellow dye. Of course, bees will be interested in these flowers and will pollinate them, and you can breed bees with them. You have understood everything correctly. These flowers were shown to us as a concept art for Wild Update. The last blocks from this update are tester blocks. They are located in the operator tab. If you want to enable it, you can turn it on in the control settings. These technical blocks are intended for game tests. Initially, they were invented by developers for themselves to be able to test snapshots, but then they decided for the developers of maps, mods and so on, they can also be useful. Maybe I will make a separate video on how to use them if you will be interested. There are very few items this time, just 2, blue and brown eggs. Each of them is no different from the most ordinary white egg, except for its texture and the chicken that will lay it. Thus, we have smoothly moved to the maps. Now, instead of one kind of chicken, the most standard one, there are 2 more in the game, cold and warm. Cold looks as follows. She has a dark blue color, fashionable hairstyle, as if she just came out of a barbershop, and can be found only in the following biomes: old growth pine taiga, old growth spruce taiga, snowy taiga, windstep hills, windstep crowley hills, and windstep forest. In addition, if you summon it with the summon an egg or command, it will also appear in the end dimension. The tropical chicken, of course, will be found in the warm biomes. It looks quite different. It has a bright orange color and additionally dark stripes on its back, somewhat reminding you of a tiger. You can find this chicken in the following biomes: savanna, savanna plateaus, windstep savanna, jungle, sparse jungle, bamboo jungle, badlands, eroded badlands, and wooded badlands. Exactly like cold as well as warm, it will appear in the nether dimension if summoned with a command or summon an egg. Familiar to all of us, white chicken is now considered temperate and will appear in all other biomes, in which will not spawn warm and cold chickens. I understand you've started to wonder, what about baby chickens? What happens if you cross different species? It's really quite simple. The color of the born chicken will depend on the parents, not on the biome in which it will appear. The color will be chosen randomly based on the color of the parents. In addition to chickens, 2 new types of pigs have been added to the game. The first variant is the coal pig. At first glance, it looks as if she's pale, but it's actually wool. Yes, the coal pig is most likely a copy of a real Mangalitsa pig, also called the sheep pig, because of its wool. You can find it in all these biomes. I will not list them again, or the video will stretch on a lot. The second option is the worm pig. It has a brown color with a small pale stripe on the back. Looks more than logical, given that it will be found in all worm biomes. However, this version of pig was also inspired by a species from real life, namely the red river hog. It's a pity she didn't get those lovely curling ears added. The color of the pigs will also depend not on the biome but on the parents. The color will be chosen randomly. The last mob in this update are cows. Yes, they too have been updated and 2 new variants have been added. Cold cows looks like this, somewhat similar to the cow pig, because it also has quite a lot of hair on its body. Additionally, this cow has unique position of horns. It can be found in all cold biomes. I can't be 100% sure, but she's very similar to the highland cattle from real life. She also has a lot of wool and a funny quiff on her head. The second option is of course the warm one. I don't really like her texture, it looks too simple, like it's straight out of some 2013 mod. But for that, she, like the last one, has unique horns. They are quite large. This cow spawns in all these warm biomes, just like all the other warm variants of mobs. This cow was most likely also running off from a real cow species, Ankoliwatusi. It lives in Africa, and perhaps you could not even think that such species of cows can be found in real life. Her horns are gigantic. The cows will also receive color from their parents randomly. Oh, I almost forgot. The wolves have been updated too. They have been given temperaments, like they did with the pandas, remember? There is a grumpy, plain, sick and so on. Only if for each kind of pine that was made texture, then here all all the opposite. The texture of wolves has not changed. Their temperament can only be heard. There is a 6 in total: big, cute, puggling, angry, grumpy, and sad. Wolves get their temperament randomly, the biome has no effect on it. The improvements and changes that were touched upon in one way or another in this update. The first thing is of course the beacon. Its beam will now be visible much farther away. That is, the further the player will move away from the place where the beacon is placed, the thicker the beam will become. In order to make it more visible, in the update the beam now reaches a height of 2048 blocks, not as before in 1024 blocks. The Creaking Heart has gotten a new texture. Now if you place these blocks between two blocks of pale wood, the heart will have a unique texture during the day. This block during the day will not summon creaking and generate resin. But most importantly, the transition from active to sleep state now depends on a daytime. The same, by the way, applies to A Blossom. Super important updates still touch the loaded area. Now each unit receives random ticks while within the player simulation or in a loaded chunk, rather than as it used to be within 8 chunks of the player. For example, in spawn chunks or in chunks loaded with the ender pearls, crops will now grow, ice will melt, snow will fall, and the cauldron will fill with water when it rains. At the same time, mob spawning, fire spreading from lava, and lightning strikes will still occur within 8 chunks from the player. After probably 100 years, the leaves in Minecraft will finally emit particles of fallen leaves. It's about time. The first time it appeared in the cherry grove, then in the pale garden, and now oak, spruce, birch, acacia, jungle, dark oak, mangrove, as well as the leaves of ordinary and flowering azalea will emit particles of fallen leaves. It looks very beautiful, but such a thing was realized long ago with the resource packs. Remember Lodestone? Yes, the very block that was supposed to make navigation the world easier. But somewhere the developers made a mistake and made an ultra expensive recipe for newbies, just when you need that block the most. The expensive part was the netherite ingot. So starting with this version, you'll need iron instead of netherite ingot to create Lodestone. It will also be found in chests near the ruined portal. Now, if a player wearing leather boots falls on a powder snow from a height of more than 2.5 blocks, he will instantly start to fall through the snow. But if that jump is from the height of less than 2.5 blocks, it will not cause him to fall through the snow. Iron bars, iron trapdoor, iron door, and weighted pressure plate have finally gotten their unique sounds for mining, destroying, placing, and walking on them. Low grass will now be a little less common in the meadow biome, and a dry bush can finally be placed on a farmland. That's what this update was worth waiting for. What about the item changes? Not bad. First of all, bundles can now be found in the village's chest with a 33% chance. No, they will be empty. No loot of any kind to find in them. Flying on elytras will stop when the player glides on blocks that can be climbed, such as leathers, scaffolding, vines, and so on. Saddles have also received improvements. Now saddles on camels and other mounts will not disappear if you throw invisibility potion on a mob. In addition, saddles will not turn red when the mount takes damage, as it was before. In addition, if you enchant a saddle and equip it on a mob, the saddle will emit an enchantment shimmering. Thorns and Curse of Binding enchantments will now also work on saddles. By the way, after the death of a pig or strider, the saddle will keep its properties, such as a custom name. The Crossbows Tooltip will now display all loaded projectiles. Previously only little information was shown, now all possible ones are shown. Of course, the most important change, which concerns the items, is new texture and models for the summoning eggs. Each mob eggs in Minecraft now has a unique model, and most importantly, texture. Visually they look very nice. Here is my tier list of all the eggs, because if I tell about each, the video will be too long. In addition, the icon of the tab with the summoning eggs has changed. Before there was a summoning egg of a pig, now there is a creeper. And what about the mobs? They've changed a bit too. Farm animals can now be found in a Badlands biome. This will be quite rare, as these areas are not particularly good for them. Camels will now appear in the desert. You will object and say that it was before, but in fact they appeared only in desert villages. Now wandering just in the desert biome, you will have a chance to meet these cute creatures. Ordinary and mushroom cows got a new texture, and most importantly, the model. The main change is that now they have a voluminous snout, and the texture began to look a little fresher. Many players asked, and the developers added the ability to name creaking with the name text. Yes, such an option has appeared, and such creaking will not despawn even during the day. However, they will still scatter if they get stuck somewhere with the player or go too far from their creaking creaking hard. Such creaking are immune to any damage and are still attached to their heart. Sheep. Yes, they are part of the farming category, but they have not been changed so drastically. First, they have changed the texture. Now, each colored sheep will not have a white face, as it was before. The color will completely stain the entire face. Sounds like a bad decision to me. Then, the wool wisps of a sheep that is sheared now relate to its color. Something like this was added originally in the Bedrock edition of the game. In addition, they can now eat ferns to renew their wool. But the most important thing is the distribution of sheep in different biomes. In temperate biomes, you will often find white sheep and uncommon black, gray, light gray, and brown sheep. In cold biomes, you will often find black sheep and uncommon gray, light gray, white, and brown sheep. In warm biomes, the common color brown and uncommon gray, light gray, white, and black. In each of the biomes, pink remains the rarest color. It is extremely unfortunate, but now to get various kinds of loot from zombified piglins, the player will have to kill them manually. Previously, XP farms were great for this. Now you'll have to do everything yourself. Then there are the villagers. The cartographer will now sell as many as 7 new maps depending on their home biome. The maps will point to different villages and structures in the different biomes. Desert cartographer will sell a map for Savannah Village, Plains Village, and Jungle Explorer. Jungle cartographer map for Savannah Village, a Desert Village, and a Swamp Explorer. Plains cartographer map for Savannah Village and a Desert Village. Savannah cartographer, Desert Village map, Plains Village map, and Jungle Explorer. Snowy biome cartographer, a Plains Village map, a map of a Taiga Village, and a Swamp Explorer. Swamp cartographer, map of a Snowy Village, a Taiga Village, and a Jungle Explorer. Taiga cartographer, a Plains Village map, a Snow Village, and a Swamp Explorer. At expert level, the cartographer will be able to offer the player a blank banner of any color, and at master level, a globe banner pattern. In addition to villagers, the wanton trader has also been updated. To be precise, his prices, as well as the goods he can buy and sell. Now he will offer the player to sell 2 items of his choice: water bottle, a bucket of water or milk, a fermented spider eye, a baked potato, or a hay bale. For these items, the player will receive emeralds. In addition, he will have wood for sale: acacia, birch, dark oak, cherry, jungle wood, oak, spruce, and pale oak. But the most important thing is an enchanted iron pickaxe. Enchantments can be anything. The price will range from 6 to 20 emeralds, and he will also sell an invisibility potion for 5 emeralds. In addition, they have also updated other deals, in some cases lowering the price of goods and in some cases increasing the amount of goods, all in favor of the player. Wall generation has also undergone significant improvements. To start with, the Pale Garden will now occupy a significant area of the Dark Forest, so the biome will be larger. Additionally, the Woodland Mansion will now be able to be generated in this biome, thus hinting that the infestation occurs after the pillagers have created these structures. Finally, it's happened and fallen trees have been added to the game. Yes, the same wall generation elements that were in Bedrock Minecraft a long time ago. However, fallen trees are a completely new decorative variant of trees. There are 4 types in total: oak, spruce, birch, and jungle tree. In addition, birch trees are divided into short and long versions. Mushrooms and vines can be found on some trees. Fallen trees can be found in every biome in which their normal version grow, except for biomes such as meadow, bamboo jungle, river, grove, and flower forest, although fallen birch trees can be found there. From time to time, ambient desert sounds will be heard in the desert and Badland biome. These sounds will actually be created by dead bushes. To do this, a dead bush should be placed on 2 sand blocks or regular or red sand, or terracotta of any color, regardless of the biome. In addition, sand blocks and terracotta blocks themselves can also create ambient sounds if they are surrounded by the same blocks on at all sides at a distance of 8 blocks. So it's straightforwardly large area of sand. Of course, what's an update without a new panorama? For this, the panorama has been updated to show new mobs and fallen leaves. To tell the truth, the developers tricked and added mobs that do not appear in these biomes, or rather their variants. But don't tell anyone about it. That's how this game drop was. It's small, quite simple, but still interesting. What will be added in the summer drop, you probably already know because this video comes out after Minecraft Live, and I'm writing this text before its release, but I hope it's something good. In any case, you can watch the previous video on the channel if you haven't done it yet. Right, did you like this drop or not? What you changed or added in it? I will be interested to read. While you're waiting for the next video, check out these ones. They are just as interesting. And of course, don't forget to subscribe to the channel, smash that like button and hit the notification bell. See you soon, because we're discovering Minecraft in a whole